On a typical day in Los Angeles, acclaimed Hollywood actor Leonardo DiCaprio entered a luxury automobile dealership, unaware that this visit would precipitate an extraordinary chain of events. The consequences of what transpired would not just be surprising, they would become permanently etched in the memories of everyone involved. The California morning unfolded beneath an expansive blue sky that seemed to promise something remarkable. Leonardo moved along the sidewalks dressed casually in a well-worn black leather jacket paired with faded jeans. Despite his global fame, he maintained an unassuming presence, though occasional passers-by recognized him with admiring glances. Fame had never altered his fundamental character, he remained grounded despite his celebrity status. He acknowledged fans with simple waves and expressed gratitude for compliments while continuing his journey without hurry. En route, he stopped at his regular café, a place he had frequented for years. "Good morning, David," he greeted the barista by name, maintaining his practice of personal connection. "Going well, Leonardo," the barista responded warmly. "The usual?" "The usual, please," Leonardo confirmed. As his coffee was being prepared, his thoughts drifted to a project that had occupied his mind for several months. It wasn't merely a passing interest but rather a concept that merged his appreciation for automobiles with his desire to create meaningful impact, perhaps a rare vehicle he could restore and utilize for charitable purposes, either as a donation or special commemoration. Coffee in hand, he resumed his journey toward a specific dealership renowned for its exclusive and luxurious automotive offerings. This establishment, he hoped, might contain exactly what he sought. Upon entering through the glass entrance, Leonardo encountered an atmosphere saturated with affluence. The polished floor mirrored the flawless finishes of the displayed vehicles. Plush carpeting absorbed footsteps, while the distinctive aroma of new leather permeated the air. Elegantly attired staff moved throughout the showroom, attending to clients adorned in expensive suits and sophisticated accessories. Leonardo, in his understated attire, remained largely unnoticed, almost. Several curious glances turned his way, followed by hushed conversations. Disregarding the murmurs, he concentrated on his purpose. His attention fixed upon a vehicle positioned at the rear of the showroom, a rare model that appeared to belong to another era. Every aspect captured his interest, the curved contours, the immaculate paintwork, the aura of exclusivity he had been seeking. With determination, Leonardo approached a salesman engrossed in his mobile device. "Excuse me, could you provide more information about this model?" he inquired politely. The salesman glanced up momentarily with minimal interest. "Wait a moment, I'll find someone," he replied before departing without a backward glance. Leonardo observed the man's departure while maintaining his composure. However, a subtle change crossed his features. An almost imperceptible furrowing of his brow suggested growing irritation. Nevertheless, he remained stationary, examining the details of the vehicle that had captured his attention. Meanwhile, the surrounding atmosphere grew increasingly hostile, not through direct confrontation but through exchanged glances and whispers among staff members. "Does he even understand where he is?" one muttered. "Doesn't appear to be a serious buyer," another remarked. Leonardo heard these comments but pretended otherwise. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully, a subtle gesture masking his discomfort. He chose not to react immediately. Standing beside the vehicle, he awaited assistance. He then noticed someone approaching, the manager, walking with rigid posture and a superior expression. The ambient discomfort intensified with each step the manager took toward Leonardo, as if each movement carried judgmental weight. Eventually, the manager halted before him. He examined the vehicle, then Leonardo, assessing both with a slight smirk. "This model is exclusive. Very rare," stated the manager, his tone suggesting evaluation rather than information. "That's precisely what I'm looking for," Leonardo responded firmly yet courteously. The manager scrutinized him once more from head to foot. His gaze conveyed a mixture of doubt and condescension. "While I hope you're prepared, this vehicle isn't for everyone," he remarked. Leonardo maintained eye contact without speaking. He merely smiled almost imperceptibly, his gaze unwavering and resolute. The manager stepped backward, crossing his arms defensively. What remained unknown to him was Leonardo's true identity, not merely a casual shopper, but one of the world's most respected actors, renowned for both his professional talent and personal integrity and humility. When his true identity would eventually come to light, the repercussions wouldn't merely be surprising, they would be unforgettable. Leonardo remained positioned beside the rare automobile, meticulously analyzing its features. The body's texture, the paint's impeccable sheen, and the classic design inspired genuine admiration within him. It perfectly matched his search criteria. However, the surrounding atmosphere contradicted the moment's potential pleasantness. The directed stares and whispered comments created escalating discomfort. Minutes later, the manager finally reappeared. Ashley, a man with rigid posture and penetrating gaze, approached with deliberate steps, each movement calculated to assert authority. He halted near Leonardo, crossed his arms, and displayed a smile that conveyed provocation rather than hospitality. "Interested in this model?" Ashley asked, his tone nearly mocking. "Yes, it's an impressive automobile." "I'd appreciate more information," Leonardo replied calmly. Ashley assessed him thoroughly, particularly noting the faded jeans and worn leather jacket. He raised an eyebrow, evidently surprised by this individual's presumption in entering the establishment dressed so casually. "Interesting," he murmured sarcastically. "This represents one of our most exclusive models. Very few individuals have the opportunity to view one, let alone acquire it." Leonardo maintained his composure despite the palpable tension. Ashley shifted slightly, positioning himself to obstruct Leonardo's closer approach to the vehicle. "And you understand this automobile costs more than certain Beverly Hills residences, correct? It's not accessible to just anyone," Ashley continued sharply. Leonardo frowned slightly but maintained politeness. "I'm aware, which explains my presence and interest." "Could you provide additional details?" he persisted, attempting to disregard the manager's hostility. Ashley emitted a dry laugh conveying contempt rather than amusement. He recrossed his arms and leaned forward slightly. "Listen, I'll state this plainly, models like this attract specific clientele, individuals who comprehend their purchase. And respectfully, you don't appear to match that profile." Leonardo inhaled deeply, attempting to contain his discomfort which now transformed toward indignation. He tilted his head slightly, as if seeking confirmation of what he'd heard. "Profile?" he repeated neutrally. "Yes, profile," Ashley emphasized. "Our automobiles aren't merely vehicles, they symbolize status, achievement, exclusivity. Elements that, regrettably, don't align with." He paused, gesturing theatrically toward Leonardo's attire. The ensuing silence felt overwhelming. Some employees paused their activities to observe the interaction, while others pretended disinterest. Leonardo didn't immediately respond. He regarded Ashley intently, seemingly measuring his words carefully. "Curious how you presume such knowledge about individuals based solely on their attire. That reveals more about your character than mine," Leonardo finally stated firmly yet calmly. Ashley narrowed his eyes, visibly irritated by the response. He advanced closer, invading Leonardo's personal space while lowering his voice, though maintaining its acidic quality. "Listen carefully. I encounter people like you regularly. They enter, admire the vehicles, briefly indulge fantasies, then depart without purchasing. If you're merely pretending, please don't waste my time or my team's resources." Leonardo remained motionless, but his posture now communicated something different, no longer merely patience but quiet determination reflected in his eyes. "What if I'm not here to fantasize?" he asked simply. Ashley released a brief laugh and shook his head, finding the question apparently absurd. "Then I'd suggest you're in the wrong establishment, because this place serves those who can afford our products and have something to demonstrate, and honestly, you appear to possess neither qualification." The atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive. Leonardo observed Ashley for several additional seconds, his discomfort now transformed into something deeper, almost restrained indignation. He offered a slight smile, not expressing joy but indicating comprehension of the individual before him. Interesting, I've always believed authentic luxury involves treating people respectfully. Perhaps you should consider that concept, Leonardo stated, his voice calm yet incisive. Leonardo maintained his position before Ashley, who now radiated anger and contempt through every utterance. The room's tension was tangible, with nearby employees and customers openly observing the confrontation. Ashley's hostile tone intensified, as if winning this argument would reaffirm his authority. Individuals like yourself only enter to waste everyone's valuable time, Ashley remarked sarcastically. This isn't a casual park stroll, it's certainly not an environment for dreamers with worn jackets and empty pockets. Leonardo tilted his head slightly, examining the man before him with a calm yet penetrating gaze. He breathed deeply before responding, selecting his words carefully. Interesting that you mention wasting time while preoccupying yourself with judging others based on appearance rather than character. Perhaps reconsider what truly matters, he stated steadily yet resolutely. Ashley narrowed his eyes, his face flushed with frustration. He advanced, invading Leonardo's personal space. I understand precisely what matters, he snapped venomously, and it certainly excludes moral instruction from someone presuming entitlement to enter this establishment. You don't comprehend whom you're addressing. Leonardo remained steadfast, maintaining eye contact with Ashley, further fueling the manager's anger. Realizing his verbal ineffectiveness, Ashley completely lost composure. You don't dictate my actions. Ashley shouted, raising his fist in an impulsive attempt to intimidate or perhaps strike Leonardo. However, Leonardo reacted swiftly. With the composure of someone accustomed to tense situations, he raised his hand and intercepted Ashley's fist mid-motion. The movement demonstrated firmness without aggression, restraint rather than retaliation. Momentarily, time seemed suspended. Ashley stood immobilized, astonished that his attempted blow had been easily intercepted. The entire showroom fell silent, all attention focused on the unfolding scene. Leonardo looked directly into Ashley's eyes, his expression conveying something profound. He didn't appear angry, but his voice carried unsettling strength when he spoke. The anger you're experiencing bears no relation to me. Perhaps introspection is warranted before projecting emotions onto others. He released Ashley's fist with the same calm demeanor with which he had halted it. The manager retreated, visibly shaken, though attempting to mask insecurity with rigid posture. Leonardo adjusted his jacket, stepped back slightly, and cast a final glance at Ashley. Respect requires no cost, yet for some individuals, it proves more elusive than any vehicle in this establishment. Without awaiting response, Leonardo turned and proceeded toward the exit. The showroom remained silent except for his firm footsteps across the gleaming floor. Employees and customers remained motionless, some still holding their breath, seemingly unable to process what they had witnessed. Something then caught Leonardo's attention, a young man positioned in the dealership's corner holding his phone aloft. He had been recording not merely the final interaction but apparently the entire encounter. Leonardo paused briefly, establishing eye contact with the young man, who appeared nervous yet determined. The man offered Leonardo a subtle nod signifying quiet solidarity. Leonardo responded with an almost imperceptible smile before exiting through the glass doors, disappearing into the Los Angeles sunlight. Inside the dealership, Ashley struggled to regain composure, but the surrounding silence and accusatory stares from other employees clearly indicated a fundamental shift. The young man's recorded video wouldn't remain concealed long, and when the world witnessed the dealership events, the consequences would prove as devastating as inevitable. By the following morning, awareness of the incident had spread globally. The young man's dealership recording had been shared on social media platforms. Within hours, the footage achieved viral status, shared by thousands expressing outrage regarding Leonardo DiCaprio's treatment. The contrast appeared striking, a man renowned for humility being humiliated by someone displaying such arrogance. The video documented Ashley's dismissive treatment of Leonardo and disrespectful remarks, but the pivotal moment was unmistakable, when the manager attempted assault against Leonardo, only to have his aggression calmly deflected. Leonardo's statement that respect doesn't cost anything, yet seems rarer than any vehicle here, instantly proliferated online, appearing in posts, memes, and even newspaper headlines. Online commentary proved relentless. How could anyone treat Leonardo DiCaprio this way? He's literally among Hollywood's most humble and kind individuals. That manager clearly perceives himself as superior. Disgraceful representation of the dealership. Leonardo, as always, handling arrogant individuals gracefully, absolute legend. This should provide a lesson: never underestimate people regardless of appearance. Entertainment blogs and news outlets quickly adopted the story. The issue transcended disrespecting a customer, it involved one of the world's most respected actors. Public narrative not only defended Leonardo but criticized elitist and prejudicial practices in luxury establishments like the dealership. At the dealership, repercussions proved immediate and severe. The company's social media accounts were inundated with negative comments demanding explanations and apologies. Criticism originated globally, with announcements of boycotts and demands for the manager's termination. Ashley attempted to justify his actions, but each statement exacerbated the situation. His explanations contained empty excuses without demonstrating genuine remorse. The situation represented a misunderstanding. I didn't immediately recognize Mr. DiCaprio, and my behavior was misinterpreted. The public rejected these explanations. Collective outrage proved unstoppable. Dealership employees, concerned about job security, began providing anonymous statements to media, confirming Ashley's behavior wasn't unprecedented. He consistently treated people disrespectfully regardless of wealth. He considered himself superior, one employee revealed, further intensifying public indignation. The dealership lost significant clientele and experienced plummeting sales. Nobody wished association with an establishment bearing such tarnished reputation. While public discussion about the incident continued, Leonardo maintained silence. He had never sought revenge or conflict escalation. At home, surrounded by his characteristic simplicity, he contemplated the events. He recognized the situation wasn't unique. Prejudice based on appearance, social status, or financial circumstances remained commonplace. He didn't want this experience relegated to isolated incident status. He determined to create meaningful impact. Leonardo shared his thoughts with a close friend. The video circulates and generates reactions, but I don't want this concluding as merely another scandal. I want to inspire genuine change. What's your intended action? The friend inquired. Address it my way, Leonardo replied with a subtle yet determined smile. Leonardo knew he must return to the dealership, not for retaliation but to transform the situation into a powerful lesson. After concluding the phone conversation, he reconsidered the vehicle he still desired. It remained in his thoughts, symbolizing potential transformation. I must return, he concluded. The outstanding question remained: what action would he take upon return? Days later, the video continued dominating social media platforms and headlines. Leonardo DiCaprio remained a trending subject, though he traditionally avoided publicity and abstained from public statements. Nevertheless, he recognized the story required meaningful resolution. That afternoon, Leonardo revisited the same dealership. His arrival lacked fanfare, no security personnel, no media cameras, merely his calm, quiet presence. However, circumstances had changed. Everyone at the dealership now recognized him. Employees froze upon his entrance. Some appeared anxious, others ashamed. Ashley, the manager, stood behind a counter, visibly tense. His face appeared pallid, his previously confident posture now hesitant. The dealership, once bustling with activity, seemed eerily vacant, direct consequence of the massive boycott facing the establishment. Leonardo approached the vehicle that had initially attracted his attention. He placed his hand on the body, running his fingers across the surface as before, studying its details. However, the current tension resided not in the automobile but throughout the room. He sensed Ashley's fixed gaze, a look containing fear and poorly concealed regret. Ashley eventually summoned courage to approach, though his demeanor contrasted dramatically with days earlier. He appeared diminished, almost defeated. "Mr. DiCaprio," Ashley began, his voice subdued and constrained. "I wish to apologize for previous events. I believe we started adversarially, and hope we might begin anew. Perhaps I could demonstrate the vehicle that interested you." Leonardo turned slowly, establishing eye contact with Ashley. The manager swallowed nervously, unable to maintain the gaze. "Begin anew?" Leonardo questioned calmly yet incisively. "I suspect you misunderstand. The issue isn't solely your treatment of me. It concerns your general treatment of people, any individual." Ashley attempted response, but words failed him. Leonardo retreated slightly while maintaining eye contact. Respect shouldn't represent a negotiable commodity reserved exclusively for those deemed worthy. It's fundamental, either present or absent, Leonardo stated, his voice carrying throughout the room. Ashley attempted reply, but Leonardo raised his hand slightly, indicating he should listen. "I arrived seeking something special, something personally meaningful. However, what I encountered can't be remediated through apology. Consequently, I won't purchase this vehicle from this establishment." His words carried crushing weight. Ashley appeared to shrink further as Leonardo spoke. Surrounding employees and customers stood in complete silence, absorbing every statement. Leonardo moved toward the exit. Before departing, he turned toward Ashley. "I hope this provides instruction not exclusively for you but everyone present. Authentic luxury isn't defined by exclusive vehicles or price indicators. True luxury involves treating others dignifiedly. And that, unfortunately, seems rarer than any model displayed in this showroom." With those words, Leonardo exited the dealership, leaving profound silence in his wake. Days following the incident, the video continued circulating. However, public discussion now transcended the dealership events. People discussed how Leonardo had transformed disrespectful treatment into a lesson transcending the specific occurrence. Once again, he symbolized humility and quiet strength. Leonardo purchased the vehicle from a modest dealership prioritizing human connection over ostentation. The proprietor, a middle-aged man named Eric, was known for treating all customers equally regardless of status. When Leonardo entered the shop, he received a genuine welcome. "Welcome, how may I assist you today?" Eric inquired. "I'm seeking something special, a vehicle representing greater purpose." "I believe you can assist me," Leonardo replied. The interaction proceeded warmly, without judgment or prejudice. Eventually, Leonardo discovered his desired vehicle. He photographed himself with Eric and staff, posting it on social media with a simple yet powerful caption: "True luxury involves respectful treatment. Thank you for this reminder." The post again achieved viral status, highlighting the new dealership as exemplary customer service. People visited the shop, attracted by an establishment prioritizing dignity. Leonardo's actions sparked global movement. People shared personal experiences of prejudice, discrimination, and resilience. Numerous campaigns promoting respect and inclusion emerged, encouraging businesses to reconsider practices and behaviors. Hashtags like #RespectAsLuxury and #LearnFromLeonardo dominated social media platforms. Celebrities, activists, and commercial brands joined the movement, utilizing the moment for reflection. Even luxury vehicle manufacturers adopted more inclusive narratives, fearing reputational crises similar to the original dealership's experience. Meanwhile, the original dealership continued experiencing consequences. Ashley was terminated following overwhelming criticism and substantial client loss. The dealership underwent restructuring, but reputational damage was established. The incident became cautionary business narrative, stark reminder regarding respect's importance. "I never intended this focusing on me," Leonardo stated with characteristic humility. "This transcends my identity or profession. This concerns interpersonal treatment. Respect shouldn't depend on identity, wealth, or appearance. It represents basic entitlement deserved by everyone." When questioned about lessons learned, Leonardo smiled slightly before responding. "I've learned that even challenging moments provide opportunities for change. Respect requires no cost, but when offered, creates potential world transformation." The vehicle Leonardo purchased became symbolic. It underwent restoration and auction at a charity event, generating millions supporting equality and inclusion causes. During the event, Leonardo delivered brief yet unforgettable remarks. This vehicle remained merely an object until this narrative unfolded. Now it carries something far more valuable, the lesson that we all possess transformative power when guided by respect. The evening concluded with applause not exclusively for Leonardo but for his globally shared message. An incident originating in prejudice and disrespect had transformed into narrative of metamorphosis and inspiration. Leonardo demonstrated that even confronting injustice, dignified action remains possible, converting negativity into positive impact. The world progressed, but the lesson endured. Even in life's simplest moments, respect truly defines humanity. Thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoy this video, and learned a lesson. I would be grateful for your likes. Also don't forget to subscribe and comment on the video. See you soon.